Alright, well, I'm selling my RV, the Fleetwood Bounder. It was the pride of the American side, the best of her fleet. And, yeah, it's time that she move on. I had her since 2010. Yeah, 2000. Was it 2010? Yeah, till 2010. And I got her in the summer of 2010. Bought it off this old couple that lived in Woodland Hills, and they seemed nice enough, although later on I started to realize the old guy kind of shuck and jived me. It didn't really turned out that it's just one thing after another problem wise with it, but it was still a cool RV though. I stayed until September in California, and I parked in the parking lot primarily of the Target in I guess that was North Hollywood, in San Fernando Valley, I think on Vineland. It's all Mexican area, and there was like at night there was a really good Mexican taco stand place they would set up, and man, they had some bomb tacos there. And I lived there for a couple weeks with Jear and Napoleon and Ping Pong, and it was cool. I was waiting around because I was still having to get stuff straightened out with the RV, and I had to get paid by the I ended up getting paid to move out of my apartment, $18,000 by the owner of the building. It was a state law. If you had to move out, they had to pay you $10,000. But I held out for $18,000 because I was the last person still there in the building, and so he regretfully paid me the extra $18,000. I asked him for me to leave early, and boy, was that sweet getting that money from him, because that guy was such a prick. He was always trying to get me kicked out because he knew he was going to have to pay me the $10,000. So he was trying to get me kicked out of there, and he couldn't, even though he sent inspectors to my apartment and everything to try to get me tossed out. But so we lived in the Target parking lot primarily for a couple weeks, and we also stayed at the RV place there in I don't know where the hell is it, up north of LA, Santa Clarita maybe, I don't know. And the plan was that I was going to move to Montana. I wanted to move someplace cold, and my dad was just like, go ahead, get someplace cheap. And I found a place in this town called Red Deer, I think. And the rents were only $350 a month. And It looked cool. It kind of looked like the kind of area I wanted to move to. I wanted to move to a cold area, kind of like a ski towny kind of place. So I'm still there at the Target in LA, and the last day we were there, it was 113 degrees out, and I mean the AC wasn't really working. The generators kept conking out. And like Jerry was like panning like crazy. I knew he was miserable, and the other Ping Pong and Napoleon weren't liking it either. So I just decided, well, time to start the trip. So we left that day, and the thing is, once I got out on the road, it was like I couldn't drive for more than a couple hours without just falling asleep at the wheel almost. So it's like I could only drive for a couple hours and then have to pull over. And so I'm trying to remember where we got to the first day. I mean, it couldn't have been very far. I'm guessing that we went up to Nevada first, maybe. And then like Utah, and stopping and staying mostly at Flying J restaurants, or Flying J, those truck stops where RVs can park there. And I had my satellite TV, so that's where the big TV was. There was also a TV in the back room. I've taken them down, but and I had microwave. The oven wasn't working, and the fridge didn't fucking work. I had to get a fridge at Target while we were there, and so maybe we just drove up to No, we did go to Nevada, I think. I don't know. I remember getting to Utah and staying primarily in the parking lots of Walmarts too. We stayed there, and anyways, long story short of it, I guess I got to Montana. It took forever to get to Montana, but I guess probably got there. I think we left in the middle of September. We probably got to Montana finally by the end of September or something like that. And so I was driving to this town I was going to move to, and I blew a head gasket like 15 minutes from this place, and I had to pull over in this little town, and these cowboy guys were trying to help me out. And I guess when they popped the hood and it was smoking, they checked the radiator fluid. And I guess radiator fluid started to spray up, and it got into the engine. And I found out later that when that happens, your engine is shot when you get radiator fluid in the engine. So I was stuck in this little town that didn't even really have a grocery store. I had to buy food at this convenience store. And I was able to get the RV over to across the street and park in the parking lot of the school. And for a couple nights I was there, and like at night I would see deer running around, and I remember I watched some of the playoff games, so it must have been October by then there. And then finally I had to get the thing towed, so I got towed back to Billings, and taken to this tow truck, taken to an RV place where they worked on RVs, and they took a look at it. They told me how the engine was blown, and so like a new engine was going to be real expensive and stuff. So I was thinking to probably just sell the RV, get something else, another RV, And then, so I was able to, they towed me into the parking lot of this place, and they had AC, they had power hookups, so I was able to plug in, get all my electrical power at their place for free. And so I didn't even have to run my generator. And I ended up living there in their parking lot for all through October, all through I guess into November, and at some point it started to get too cold, and so I then had to move into a hotel, and I moved to an executive suites with the boys. Of course I brought the boys with me, and I mean, just getting them in the RV, especially Ping Pong, was just a major ordeal. He turned into a wild bobcat, and then trying to get him into the hotels is a whole nother thing. He just did not like it at all. I mean, he was scary. He was scaring me, and he was scaring Jerry and Napoleon, and eventually he got used to it, and he would just hang out in the back there, in the back room, like he hangs out in the back room of the apartment, and sitting in this cat tree, and but we lived for like a month or two. We lived for a couple months in here. I had DirecTV and everything, and I had my PlayStation, so I was watching movies and stuff, and I was taking cabs to go see movies in Billings, and I was shopping around for other RVs, because I still had money from what I got paid out for the apartment complex. And then one night I was getting driven back by one of the guys that worked at the tow place back to my RV, and he told me that they sold like used engines. And I was like, why didn't they tell me that? And I had been there for a couple of months. I mean, I had to sleep on the damn floor there this whole time, because I'd taken the bed out, because the bed was hard as shit. But I like fucked up my wrist sleeping on that floor. And I lived in here with the boys through Thanksgiving and Halloween, and and so I ended up buying a used engine from them, which was like another $6,000 something bucks, and then shit, man. Then we lived in hotels for another couple months. We lived in that executive suites. We lived in the Motel 6 in Billings. I brought my fridge from in here into the room at Motel 6. The executive suites, the manager was like a royal bitch. I got in a big argument with her and ended up kind of getting kicked out and leaving. And then at the Motel 6, they were pretty cool. And we spent Christmas there at the Motel 6 in Billings, and this was still December of 2010. And at that point, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to live anywhere in Montana. That small town I was going to move to, it turned out to be really gay. They didn't have any fast food places. They didn't have the one movie theater they had only showed like artsy fartsy kind of movies, and Billings wasn't an option either because I couldn't street park my RV anywhere. They were real strict about that. They didn't have a Chili's anywhere in Montana, which sucked. And Billings was kind of ghetto anyways. I almost did move there, actually. I almost got a place there, but glad I didn't. The place really sucked. And so it really just turned out, and Idaho was another option, but they also were strict about street parking RVs. I was thinking about Sandpoint, Idaho, which is like near the Canadian border and it's supposed to be real nice. Resort town, kinda. So Wyoming turned out to be the best option because they allowed you to street park an RV, and so eventually I left the Motel 6 sometime in late February, headed down to Cheyenne. I first stayed at a Motel 6 in Cheyenne where they were rude as hell. The maids complained that I was walking around without my shirt, and they made me put my cats in boxes while they cleaned the rooms, and they had to clean the rooms every day, or every other day or something like that. I watched the Super Bowl at that Motel 6 in Cheyenne, and eventually they're just so rude. I just left there, and I went to a Comfort Inn in Cheyenne and they were awesome. They were really cool. They didn't insist on cleaning the room, except maybe once in a while. They didn't mind the cats being around. The room was real nice. It was just really sweet. I lived there for about 3 weeks until I finally was able to move into my apartment. The Odyssey was then over. I had spent 6 months on the road with my boys. We spent about 3 months in the RV and 3 months in hotels. It was like a trip that was only supposed to take a couple weeks, but I could live to be 100 years old, and I'll never forget that trip. It was really an adventure. It was fun. I missed living in here. But I got a cool apartment. Been here since March of 2011, and it's April of 2014, so a little over 3 years. Kind of ready to get a new place. But yeah, so that's kind of the story of the RV. This grand vessel, the couple in California, the old couple, they used to rent out RVs to Hollywood. So some famous people were in here in this vessel, in this hull, this great ship. And so I'm going to start to clean it now. Trying to get it ready for sale. And then I'll probably get a van. If I could keep it, I would. Because I'd like to have it just in case I end up having to live in... it's just so I don't have to live on the streets just in case. You know, I never know with my dad. He's pretty kooky. So, yep. Over and out.